Welcome to the Energy Insider YouTube channel, where I make videos about the offshore energy industry. But let's start at the very beginning. If you're going to work offshore in the oil and gas industry, you're going to need some training. In this video, we're going to do the offshore survival course called the BOSIET. The BOSIET is the required training course for working offshore in the oil and gas industry. So when you have a BOSIET, you can go overseas and the certificate is valid over there as well. Some countries have their own version and they have a slightly different name, but it's basically the same thing. The BOSIET will take 3 days and is split into 5 sections. Offshore hazards and controls, basic first aid, then there's basic firefighting and escaping smoke-filled environments. Then we have rig and boat evacuation procedures. We also have the helicopter underwater escape training, otherwise called a chute. We went to AIS Survivex. They're the largest UK provider of offshore wind turbine and oil and gas training courses. Okay, let's get into it. Let's review the 5 sections of the BOSIET and go over some FAQs. So, frequently asked questions. Do I need to be able to swim? How long is it valid for? How much will it cost me? Any discounts available, and is it worth doing if you have no experience? All right, I'll give you my opinions on that. Hazards and controls offshore. Now, this section is really good for understanding the do's and don'ts of working offshore. You'll see some standard practices. I'll give you a few just to give you an idea. Barriers. If somebody's put up a barrier, you can't cross it. Even if you have to walk all the way around just to get to the other side, and you can see everything, there's nothing there. You don't cross it. The permit system. The permit system is going to be drilled into you. You do not start work until you get a permit. Emergency first aid. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is making sure that you know enough emergency first aid that if you find somebody in an emergency situation, that you know what to do. It's that old Dr. ABC thing where it's danger, response, check their airways, breathing, and cardiovascular. Firefighting. You will learn how to fight fires, but not all fires. You'll learn when you fight fires, and sometimes you just leave them for the professionals. You will learn about the different fire extinguishers, and you'll also get to practice putting out fires.
Explode.
It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. First person up, grab the CO2. Just make sure that pump is set to brand new, just make sure it works. You're going to go into the back, push the lever here, set the right gear, stop the side.
With the smoke training, you will be put into a dark room and you'll have a smoke mask on, and you'll have to use certain techniques to find your way around the room and imitate if there was fire in some of the locations or through some of the doors, and you go through a sequence of checking each door to make sure that it's safe to go in and how you would enter that.
Boss man!
Rig and boat evacuation procedures and sea survival. You'll learn how to launch the survival craft. You also launch them, lower them. There's a bunch of different ways, and what to do once you're in them, because there's a few things that you want to get done straight away. You want to get your seasickness tablets in you because you're going to need that, and then you're going to need to activate your beacon, your survival beacon, because you'll be at sea. You need to be found, and there's a few other bits and pieces that you need to learn, and you need to make sure that you know how to do them. The helicopter underwater escape training is the most famous part of the BOSIET. It's the part where you're in a helicopter shell, then dunked into water, then it's capsized and inverted. You have to push out the window and then you have to get out. It is brilliant. definitely my favorite part. So, the 3 things that you need to do in this section is you need to learn how to use your survival suit. You need to be able to get it on properly. You need to know how to make sure that it's tightened properly, how to approach a helicopter, and what you can bring with you. If it's anywhere where it's really hot or the water's hot, you don't need to use it, because it's just for climates where if you were to ditch in water, that the water temperature will kill you faster than anything else. So if you're overseas, you won't need to use one. You'll just be in your shorts and t-shirt.
So this is one of the suits that the guys and girls would put on for going off to go offshore.
Yeah.
On the suit itself, generally the zip opens down to the waist, right up to the top shoulder, goes diagonally across. Other bits and pieces, we have the dump valve, small pocket at the side there. Normally you'd have your neoprene gloves. If there's any air trapped in the suit, that forces the air up and then out the dump valve at the back there.
Go, yeah.
On the back here we have a toughened strap, a little bit of assistance, so we can use them rather than pulling on the jacket.
So
we
you
have a crotch
so
strap.
you can grab that.
You use onto that strap to pull them. We use that because it's a toughened strap on the back.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
One of the commonly asked questions is if you need a swimsuit to do your BOSIET, and the answer is no. I mean, you can wear it if you want, but it might be a bit awkward. They will give you one of these overalls, one of these coveralls, and you just wear that over whatever you want. And you're going to go into a dry suit, so in theory, if the dry suit's like tied up correctly and you fasten it correctly and it's working well, then you're going to be fairly dry. Okay, this is me putting on a survival suit. Let's see if I can do it first time. Come on. Your life jacket with CA-EBS. Now this is important because this is a change to what they had before. It's so much better than what they had before. The CA-EBS, which is a compressed air emergency breathing system, is basically a scuba with a small scuba bottle and a regulator. So that when you're ditching in the helicopter and it's filling up with water, you can just stick this in your mouth. Whereas before, there was an emergency rebreathing system that is not as good as this is. And because of that, they've changed the rules slightly on the medicals for doing the course. So you need to do a fit to train before you do the course, just to verify that you're safe to use diving related equipment. Okay, for the Hewitt, this is the sequence. You will land on the surface without sinking, and you will learn how to get out, launch the raft, and remain connected to the helicopter. Then you will sink, stay upright, you'll have no windows, and you'll have to get out. Then the next time round, you will stay upright. However, there'll be windows in that you need to wait until the water level raises above the level of the windows, because if there's water on the outside and there's no water on the inside, then you won't be able to get the window out. So you actually have to remain there until the water level goes up, and then you push it out. And then the next 2 dives will be inverted. So exactly the same thing. It'll go submerge, go inverted. There'll be no windows, you need to get out. The next time around, there will be windows. So you just do it incrementally, you know, just to add in, making it a little bit more difficult every time. Hey, you okay? You can pass it. Ready to go? Cameron, you can go.
Quite happy with what you're doing. When the water gets to about your chest, take a breath, you're underwater, count to about 7, and then leave. Okay.
Stand up routine, rapid partial submersion. Brace, brace, brace.
Stick your elbow as close to the corner as you possibly can. If you can get as close to this little screw here with your elbow, the window's just going to drop out for you. Ready inside. Good one. inside.
Right, so I'll tell you the sequence so that you are really good when you go and do your course, so you can ace it. The sequence is like this. When the water fills up, you will put your regulator in your mouth. Then you will have one hand on your buckle and one hand on the window. Now, the reason for this is that you always want to have your hand on your escape before you release your buckle. But because you've got that survival suit and your life jacket, if you release your buckle too early without actually having hold of the window, then you're going to float either to the ceiling, or if you're upside down, you will float to the floor. Either way, you do not want to be there. So you keep your hand on the buckle, you push the window out, you hold on to the window ledge, then you release the buckle, and then you use that to pull you out. And you'll go out really quite easily. So whatever you do, don't release your buckle too early. That's basically it. Do you need to know how to swim? No, you don't. You only need to be able to float. And because you've got a survival suit on and a life jacket, you're going to float no problem. If you can't swim, they'll usually give you a different colored helmet. And that's to differentiate you from the swimmers so that they can keep a closer eye on you, because you won't be probably not feel as comfortable in the water as the swimmers would. And there'll also be 2 divers in the water with you at one time, normally. So they'll keep an eye on you and you'll be in safe hands. Is the BOSIET all you need to work offshore? And the answer is no, it's not. You actually need some more. In the UK at least, you need BOSIET, MIST, and an OG UK medical. And then before you do the BOSIET, you're going to need that fit to train. So we're talking fit to train, BOSIET, MIST, and OG UK medical. That's what you need. If you're overseas in some other countries, it might just be the BOSIET and the OG UK medical. The cost of doing the course is between £1,000 and £1,500, depending on where you go and where you are in the world, but it's going to be somewhere about that range. So discounts, all the details in the description. The Norwegian escape chute is an add-on. So you only need that if you're working in Norway, or there are some other countries that might need it as well, but it's when they use this particular escape system on the rigs and on their boats. Would you want to use that? Or would you want to get that if you wanted to work in Norway, which you definitely should, because their standard is really high. It's a really nice place to work. So the Norwegian escape chute, that's what that is. The BOSIET lasts 4 years. And if you renew it before the end of the 4 years, then you do what's called a FOET, which is a further offshore emergency training. And that lasts for another 4 years, but that only takes 1 day and it's a bit cheaper. So on the question of should you get your BOSIET before you go and find a job, especially if you have no experience. So I have known both types of people. I have known people who just went and got their BOSIET, got their certs, and just pushed and knocked on all the doors until they got a job. And I know some other people who they managed to get a job first, managed to get employed. But what I do know is that if you're looking for agency work or last minute work or trying to squeeze in that way, you're less likely to get that without the BOSIET, without being offshore ready. If you'd like to see more videos about the energy industry, especially the offshore energy industry, the companies, what it is they do, explained in a simple way, and also where the interesting jobs are, then subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions regarding the BOSIET, leave a comment below. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Welcome to Energy Insider.